Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Max and Juan cast. It's been a while, man. It's been a minute. A lot of things have happened. Max and Juan cast kind of been MIA, but if you guys watched the last episode, you guys know my boy Max just got married. He's on his honeymoon. MJC was live in full effect at his wedding. Successful wedding. Had a great time. And as you can see, I'm riding solo dolo. My boy's in Italy. So the Max and Juan cast don't stop. Only for a couple weeks, I should say. But, for now, I'm back at least. All right. A lot of stuff has happened, guys. A lot of stuff has happened. A lot of NBA, some NFL. So we're going to try to get all into it today. But before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. If you guys are new to the channel, uh, hit the like button, comment down below any opinions that you guys have, thoughts, whatever, dude. It's been a minute, so let's get right into it, bro. Game 7. That's where we're going to start it off at. Celtics and Heat. The Celtics, the fucking I hate Celtics, almost pulled off the comeback, man. 3-0. Got it all the way down to game 7, but unfortunately lost at home to Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat in the last, what, I want to say 3 years or 4 years, however long it's been. I think 3 years, yeah. 2020 was the last time they made it to the finals, man. They're back. So they're proving that they're not a fluke. I just want to start off here, man. It's best to start off with the Heat because the Celtics, they're second. Like I got a lot of thoughts and opinions on that, but the Heat in general, man, two guys that I want to highlight here. Number one, Jimmy Butler. If you guys have known me personally, you guys know how much of a fan I am of Jimmy Butler. I love his work ethic. I love his game. I love his attitude. Everything that the man brings, I love it, man. Me and Max were even thinking about doing a video and calling it why how Jimmy Butler was always right the whole time. He got a lot of flack for that whole Minnesota situation with Cat and D'Angelo Russell and how he was punking dudes in practice and he kind of had like a little bitch fit, calling guys out and stuff, however you want to call it. Rightly so. And I think he was 100% right about Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell about questioning their love for the game and I guess you would say like practice habits. Just overall, got out of Minnesota after he led them to the playoffs, goes to Philly, has a run with Philly, and Philly kind of the same boat. He didn't get good terms with the coach, didn't get on good terms with Ben Simmons. I think he was cool with Joel Embiid, but Ben Simmons, another dude, questioning his love for the game, his work habits, and he just did not get along, bro. And a lot of people like to say Tobias Harris was the guy that they picked over Jimmy Butler. I like to say essentially it was Ben Simmons that they picked over Jimmy Butler. And the Sixers didn't make it past the second round this year, so I would say they're still wrong about that. Fortunately enough for them, they got Joel Embiid, but that's besides the fact. So Jimmy Butler winds up going to Miami Heat, and it's a blessing in disguise, man. Like he fits the Heat culture. I think he fits Eric Spoelstra to a fucking T, bro. Just everything that Pat Riley and the Miami Heat embody, Jimmy Butler could be the definition of it. Like everything, man. So he had a good bounce back game in game 7. He had a rough last 2 games before that. But as you can see from his press conferences, man, he didn't blink. And I don't think the Miami Heat didn't blink. That's evident because game 7, they came out, they kicked their ass for the most part. Bam Adebayo seemed like every time that the Celtics would get it down by 7 or 5 is he will get a big offensive rebound or something. And Eric Spoelstra, the second guy that I want to highlight, he simply outcoached the Celtics coach. I'm going brain dead right now, but Joe Mazzulla. I want to say that's his name. He just got outclassed, man. And there was no reason why that the Celtics shouldn't even been down 3-0 for the most part. They were more talented. They had the better player in the series. Like, as far as a talent standpoint, Jason Tatum is better than Jimmy Butler from a talent standpoint. But thankfully enough, it's not all about talent in the NBA. There's a lot of things that go into it. And I think it was just one of these situations where a certain mindset and the way that the coaches approached the game was the big difference, because Eric Spoelstra just flat out outcoached him. And you can say it was knowing some rotations to work with, when players went hurt, just knowing how to be flexible and count on your guys and whatever hoorah speeches, or maybe it's the X's and O's where Eric Spoelstra was running a zone and the Celtics couldn't figure out how to beat a fucking zone, bro. Like, who the fuck runs zone in the NBA? Nobody. And Eric Spoelstra did it in one of the biggest playoff games of the year. So kudos to Eric Spoelstra, man. I think he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. One of the best head coaches we have ever seen in the NBA. The fact that he went through all that shit with LeBron in the D-Wade Big Three era, winded up winning 2 chips there. And then not only that, he winds up and proves it with his Jimmy Butler era. I think he's only had like 2 losing seasons. So kudos to Spoelstra, man. Love what he's doing with the Miami Heat, man. Another point I want to hit with the Miami Heat. Role guys. It's crazy to think that an 8 seed is fucking doing this. At least in my lifetime, it has never happened. I want to say it was the last team was the Knicks. I think I was alive. I think it was in the 90s, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was a lockout year. So a little bit different, but it's crazy to think that the talent that they're working with, and there was a reason why they were the 8th seed, guys. Like, this team was buying out guys like Kevin Love. For God's sake, they're starting a guy in Gabe Vincent, who everyone's sick and tired of saying this, but is undrafted. Like, it's crazy to fucking think, dude. And one guy in particular that arguably could have been MVP of this series, Caleb Martin, absolutely went nuts. He's on a hot streak. He is the second biggest reason, I feel like, why the Miami Heat won that series. He went nuts. Shooting, playmaking, rebounding, everything. I mean, the guy was averaging like 25 points. Caleb Martin, dude, was a nobody before this. I wouldn't say he was like a trash player or anything, but he just wasn't anything special. He wasn't a guy that you can really count on in a playoff game, and they kind of got forced to turn to him with the Tyler Hero injury and a little bit of, Kyle Lowry being a fucking zero. Like, just the Heat work with who they got, man, and their role players are phenomenal. And I say Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent, but let's not forget about Max Strus. It seems like he makes the fucking biggest 3-pointers in the fucking world. A guy like Duncan Robinson, who me and Max thrashed like multiple times the last 2 years, overpaid. He was a big contributor for this series for them. A guy in there's another guy that they have. I'm forgetting his name, but Neesmith, Kevin Love, another guy who's basically a nobody at this point. Just the way that the Heat work with these guys is fucking crazy. Heat culture is for real, man. And I'm just so happy that the Heat got to the finals. I think the right team won the series. I'm super happy that the Celtics did not win that shit. It's still undefeated as far as a team never making it back from 0-3, man. I just think it's so hard to win 4 games in a row. It just makes it tough, dude. And Now that we got the congratulations side of it with them with the Heat, let's go ahead and turn to the Celtics. Look, man, the Celtics. I said this in the beginning. There was no reason why they should have lost this series. And as well as Jimmy Butler played, I don't think he went berserk. Besides game one, he didn't really go berserk like he did in the Milwaukee series. Like that's Jimmy Butler putting the team on his back. You let Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent outplay you for the majority of the series. This can't happen. And on on the flip side of it, you can say, you know, the Udoka situation fucked them to begin the season. They lose their head coach. That's big, especially a guy in Udoka because he was a damn good head coach. He made it to the finals last year. So that hurt them. But at the end of the day, you still got these great players. You got Marcus Smart, a defensive player of the year guy. Jaylen Brown, who made an all NBA team this year. Jason Tatum, the superstar, the top 10 guy in the league, people want to say. And it's just never not enough, man. Last year they lost to the Warriors. This is not the first time around that they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals and they just cannot get it done. And at some point, you just got to clean your hands, man, and, start from scratch. I'm not saying trade Jason Tatum or anything, but pretty sure those two guys are up for contract with Jaylen Brown and Tatum. And I'm not questioning you pay a guy in Jason Tatum, but do you really want to commit to the Tatum and Brown duo? Because I don't really see it playing dividends at this point. I feel like if you want to say there's a window, maybe next year's when their window finally closes. But after that, like, would you really want to commit in this thing? Like, this is proven to us that it's Eastern Conference Finals most of the time. And yeah, that's great. That's great. Like, it sells tickets. And, a team like the Charlotte Hornets will love to be in the Celtics situation. But this is the Boston Celtics we're talking about. They expect championships. And let's just be blunt about it. The Celtics haven't won a championship in about 15 years. That's how long it's been. It's been a while. And they have had numerous chances. It seems like their window has been open ever since then. The Isaiah Thomas teams have been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then you got the Tatum and Brown era that came right after that. So they've been in great positions. But I think with this whole head coaching thing, because I wouldn't keep Mazzulla. I would move on from him. I know Nick Nurse is off the board, and a couple other guys are already signed and ready to go with some teams, but I just don't think you run it back with that guy. And a guy like Marcus Smart, like maybe you should move off a guy like him. But if it was me, I would try to trade Jaylen Brown, maybe a sign and trade, and go out and get a guy like Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard is a guy that can come in there and really have a different mentality for a guy like Jason Tatum or anyone else who's on that team, because I just feel like they lack that killer mentality. And even a guy that hates them, but it's on a lesser scale of talent. Even a guy like Draymond Green, who I don't see going to the Celtics because I don't think he likes the Celtics all that much. But a guy like that can really change the dog in the Boston Celtics, because I feel like they miss it. They really do. And last year it was Draymond Green. This year it was Jimmy Butler. I just feel like you need more. And if I'm the GM, I think I've seen enough. I know what our ceiling is with these two guys and this team, and it's obviously not good enough. A good example of this, I love to bring the football and basketball comparison to the table, but a team like the San Francisco 49ers, who they're great. Their team is phenomenal, and they always miss out on that quarterback position, though. And people forever were like, Jimmy G this, Jimmy G that. He wins. He's a winner, blah, blah, blah. but you can't get over that hump. You've been so close, and your window is open because you got all these talented players, and you're quote unquote super young, and we can win for years to come. But we need a guy to take us over that hump, and it's time for a change, and it takes a gamble to do it. And for the 49ers part, it kind of missed out on it with the whole Trey Lance situation, but I mean, they still made it back to the NFC Championship somehow, and they took a swing. And I'm not saying that if the Celtics take a swing that they'll end up just like the Niners, but I would at least try something new while Jason Tatum is still relatively young and go with a guy like Damian Lillard and take a swing and don't play the safe route, was just paying a guy like Jaylen Brown for 6 years or whatever it is. I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. All right, let's move on to the NBA Finals. So let's go ahead and talk about the Nuggets, man. The last time we did the pod, it was the preview for the Lakers and the Celtics. Or, excuse me, the Lakers and the Nuggets. And let's get it over with now. I was 100% wrong. The Nuggets swept the Lakers. I wouldn't say they kicked their ass, but for the most part, they were definitely the better team, and the better team won. Every game was relatively close, I would say, but the Nuggets just had an answer for everything that the Lakers did. And Jokic is a generational player, man. I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be a top 15 player all time at least. And his game is fucking great, dude. He was making some crazy fucking shots. And LeBron over here trying to play hero ball, playing the whole game. And he's just not that guy no more, man. LeBron has had a great career, but he's not 2017, 2012 LeBron anymore. He's old. And AD, I don't want to say he didn't show up, because I don't think people give AD enough credit for what he does on the defensive end. And I think every single night he brings it on the defensive side of the ball. But on the offensive side of the ball, he's a mystery. He's a hot and cold player. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's cold, he's nowhere to be found sometimes. 12 points to finish the game at times. And be like, what the fuck happened to Anthony Davis? Well, didn't really show up tonight on the offensive end. And I think that's what happened in the last game. Showed up on defense, didn't show up on offense, though. And Jamal Murray. Fuck, man. Jamal Murray. That high screen pick and roll with him and Jokic is fucking unstoppable, dude. He is dangerous. He is fucking lethal. Can shoot the ball, can drive the ball. Not too bad of a playmaker. Very clutch. One of the clutchest players I have ever seen in my lifetime. And I think he's going to fucking kill it this next series, man. But there goes my thoughts on the Lakers-Nuggets series. I just wanted to talk about that. As far as the finals go, let's get into the preview. I think Murray's going to kill it. Jokic might end up with the MVP award because he's the superstar. He's Jokic. He might still get it, but I think in reality, the most important player is going to be Jamal Murray, and he's going to really kill the Miami Heat. I think that's the Heat's, what would you say, crutch is not being able to guard these point guards. I don't think the Celtics really took advantage of that. I think you need to attack a guy like Gabe Vincent. I think you need to attack a guy like Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, all these guys. Like, you need it from the point guard position. And I think Jamal Murray's going to do just that. Unfortunately, for Jimmy Butler, it's going to be very hard, man. That's really the only shot that the Heat have. It's Jimmy Butler going fucking berserk. And it has happened. We have seen it. And maybe some weird shit has to happen. The finals and the playoffs in general, all things are on board, man. A guy like Giannis, he has a weird back injury. And he winds up missing a game. And You know, he plays in the series, but he's not 100%. Anything can happen in these finals. So I think if anything, if nothing fluky happens with the Nuggets side, uh, I think they're gonna wind up winning the Denver Nuggets. They're a better team, and I think Jamal Murray's gonna kill it. Uh, Jokic, if he does win, I think he's gonna get the Giannis treatment. I think it's gonna be like Giannis a year ago, where it's this guy that quote unquote couldn't get it done in the playoffs. I think Jokic has a little bit better of a track record as far as showing up in games. I don't think he's had games like Giannis where, you know, Giannis struggles and everyone's like, oh, he can't shoot, build a wall, build the wall. He's going to struggle. We know the game plan to stop Giannis. I don't think Jokic has really had that. I think maybe his worst moments were the Warrior series last year and Anthony Davis in the bubble, but it's not like Jokic played terrible. It's just he was working with less. Like his team sucked. So they got blown out at times, you know, especially last year. But that's not the case this year. They're loaded. They're ready to fucking go. They got KCP, Bruce Brown, all these fucking parts, man. Even a guy like Aaron Gordon who has some timely plays, and they got Michael Porter Jr. playing defense out here. Absolutely insane, dude. I got the Nuggets all the way for this series, man. Nuggets in 5. That's my prediction. And Murray going off. I think he's going to be the best player in the series as far as points wise, performance wise. Best player in the series obviously is Jokic, and it's going to be putting them all time with this championship, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. All right. I saved a little bit of time here. It's going to be a shorter podcast. Usually these solo ones are a lot shorter. But, you know, I couldn't get out of here at least talking about the Raiders, man. The Raiders have been in the news lately. If you guys didn't hear, so Jimmy Garoppolo, of course, got hurt last year. Ankle injury or leg injury, whatever the fuck it was. He didn't get surgery with the 49ers because it wasn't necessary, right? There was even a chance that he can come back later on in the season. If you guys didn't see the reports, like they're like, oh, if the Niners win the Super Bowl, there's a chance that Jimmy G can play, blah, 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 whatever. Long story short, winds up signing with the Raiders. Now, the Raiders have a clause in his contract saying that if Jimmy G doesn't pass the physical, his contract is non-guaranteed. And as of right now, Jimmy G has not passed the physical. And as of right now, Jimmy G has opted in to have surgery. So that means he's going to miss OTAs. He's probably going to miss minicamp. He's going to miss some training camp. And he's not going to be back for a while. So this means the Raiders are kind of in the dark right now when it comes to quarterback. Now, yes, they can cut him. They can cut loose of the contract. That was great on Ziegler's part. But from my perspective, man, how do you not prepare for something like this? And it pisses me off, man, because I feel like the Raiders don't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. And as much as I want to be optimistic and hope for the best, it scares me to death when I see shit like this, man. Because Ziegler and McDaniels are, you know, building culture. And it's going to take some time. And we want my guys. We want our guys. Shit like this, dude, just pisses me off because it seems like you guys don't look at what you're doing. Like, how do you not know that Jimmy G is capable of having surgery? Like, to me, if you know something like that, like, why wouldn't you just stay with Carr or sign another guy? Like, as of right now, it's going to be either a rookie quarterback or Brian Hoyer. It's unacceptable, dude. And all this talk about Tom Brady coming out of retirement because Tom Brady owns the Raiders. a percentage, should I say. People are saying that they're gonna have to vote him back into the NFL and he's gonna play for the Raiders. I think that's wishful thinking. It's not gonna happen. Uh, from my perspective, I think the Raiders are doing a straight path to getting a top 3, top 5 draft pick next year. I don't see it. As of right now, they still haven't signed Josh Jacobs. I think they're going to trade Hunter Renfrow. Devontae Adams is very an optimistic guy, and he's always going to go along for the ride. He's not going to be too loud about it. But you trade for a guy in Devontae Adams, and it seems like he's going to be a 2-year rental if it keeps on going like this. He's going to be a guy that asks for a trade. So I don't like what they're doing, man. And it kills me, dude, because of guys like Max Crosby on the team and a guy like Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, who they're players in the prime of their careers. Josh Jacobs is not getting any younger, and Crosby and Devontae are not getting any younger. And these are elite guys. You know, Josh Jacobs, arguably best running back last year. Devontae Adams, arguably best wide receiver, if not the best receiver. Max Crosby, you know, arguably the best, at least AFC pass rusher, you know, great player. And it's just, it seems like we're going to be wasting it with a rebuild year, essentially. Like, I don't think they're going to be that good. They're not going to try to win football games. And this whole Jimmy G situation just pisses me off. It's a new quarterback, and you want to get that time in. You want a guy that's in training camp. You want a guy that's in OTAs and getting the work in with receivers. You know, signed a lot of new receivers. Got Philip Dorsett. Got Jacoby Myers. We're the freaking Las Vegas Patriots, basically, with all these damn Patriots signings. And I don't know, man. It just pisses me off. And that's how I'm feeling about the Raiders right now, man. It's not looking good. I'm still gonna wind up cheering for. I'm not switching ship or anything, but pisses me off, and I just wanted to vent about all that. But still Raider Nation, motherfuckers. But I think that's gonna do it, man. Solo Dolo podcast in the books. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below any thoughts, opinions. Who you guys got in the finals? Heat or Nuggets? And Max is going to be gone for a minute now. He'll be coming back, though, sooner rather than later, hopefully. So I can get my partner in crime back, man. But in the meantime, you're probably going to be seeing a little bit more of these Solo Dolo podcasts. And I'll try to come out with some MJC originals that I got planned. Hopefully I can get done, man. It's a busy time right now. But that's going to do it for now. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.